Are we here? Are we live?
You are.
We're live. Hello, hello. It's Monday, and you know what that means? It means nothing. We're all inside. We don't even know what day it is. But if you have to make dinner for your family, and I guarantee they're going to want to eat tonight, you got a little hamburger lying around, I have got the thing for you. It's called Hot Melt Burgers. You can get this recipe for free if you go to savingnether.com and just click on the Sprint. It's in the Sprint recipe file. We have 100. No, we don't. We have a bunch of recipes for hot melt, and this is delicious. It's keto. It's low carb. It's delicious. The whole family will like it.
It's different.
And it is definitely different, yes. And it's better than your average burger. I'm going to show you how to make this. I'm going to take you through everything. And we're going to start with the burger. So what I have here is 2 pounds of burger, okay? And at this point, you will see when I'm doing this, I am just going to do this right off the cuff because this is how I came up with this recipe in the first place. And then when I went back to make the actual recipe, I wrote down different things. But I'm showing you what to do with what you have, and that's exactly how I'm making this, and this will make it a little bit easier for you. All right, so let's start with the burger. First of all, you've got to season the burger. Salt and pepper is just not going to cut it. Do we have some questions already?
No, you're saying burger instead of ground beef. Nothing.
Did anybody hear that? He's questioning me saying burger instead of ground beef. I don't know. Maybe we should have the camera guy have his own show. Maybe write some cookbooks too. We're going to start with some garlic. We're going to start with some garlic, and I'm just putting a bunch of seasoning in here. I've got some onion salt that comes from Trader Joe's. It's really good. They have a lot of different stuff in here. Here's something else I found in our cupboard. We have this gourmet burger seasoning that works. And this is called burger seasoning, not ground beef seasoning. I just thought I'd throw that out there. And then this is something else that we have from Ava Jane's Kitchen, which we use them for our avocado oil and a bunch of their seasoning. This one is called Salucita's Steak and Veg. And it has all kinds of stuff in it. And I'm thinking, sure, why not? So I always add a ton of seasoning because in my mind, when things are bland, that to me tastes like diet food. I grew up on Melba toast and dried chicken breasts when I was dieting with my mother, who was perpetually on a diet, by the way. So what I do too to mush up my burgers is I put on these plastic gloves. I bought these, not that you can get them now, but I bought these at CVS years ago and kept them in my car. So when I got my gas, I didn't have stinky hands, but I also had a box as well, and I brought them into the house because it works well for the ground beef. So just make sure that you're doing this and just squish it up. And going like this, you want to do a little close action in slow-mo. But you see when you do it, when you squish it like this, a spoon doesn't do nearly as well as your own hand will. And it does the trick really fast, and it gets it all blended. Okay? And then you're going to throw your pan back on. And at this point, you're going to want to make some hamburger patties up. Like so. We start with hamburger patties, and then we move after the burgers are made. And you know what, you can even take, if you have like a whole bunch of frozen hamburgers at home, you could take those and just put a little seasoning over the top, a little garlic salt, garlic pepper, whatever you have, a little steak seasoning, whatever you have, and put it right on there. Yes, we have a question?
Miscellaneous questions. How much ground beef? What does this seasoning smell like? What kind of seasonings? How much seasoning?
Okay, so here's the thing. I have 2 pounds of ground beef in here. You can use a pound of ground beef. I don't know, it's dependent on how many people you have in your family. I use 2 pounds because I want to have leftovers. There's only 2 of us. We're not going to go through 2 pounds of beef. So I've got one great big patty here that I'm going to put in, and I'm going to make a couple of smaller ones as well. I'm going to make bigger ones and smaller ones. So one it's going to be for Mark, one's going to be for me. That's how that's going to work. I use something that has a lot of garlic in it because I think garlic and ground beef has a nice flavor. But like I said, you can use any kind of a blend, anything that you have. This is a good time to kind of go through your spices and see what you have. You can make any kind of anything together. Put onion and garlic powder together. You could add some thyme, some oregano. You could add a little bit of chili peppers. You can add just pretty much anything. You can even add mustard in there if you wanted to, like dried mustard. But what the point is that it adds flavor and it gives it a unique taste, like more like a steak. But think of it and season it like a steak because these basically are steaks. So let's get that going. Did that answer that question? That help? Yeah? Okay. And you don't want to overhandle your beef. And one thing that you need to look at too, when you're putting your hamburger patties in, this is a mistake a lot of people make with hamburgers and with pancakes, is they'll take their spatula and smash them down. And when you do that, you end up with just really bad rubbery pancakes and dried out beef. So you don't want to do that. I feel like I should be singing a song or something.
Happy birthday twice.
Who's having a birthday out there? How many people do we have so far?
70 to 80.
Yay. So this is your basic hamburger. I mean, you can do whatever you want with it. My strong suggestion is always to add a lot of seasoning. Try it out. Don't be afraid of salt and pepper. Don't be afraid of garlic. When you add flavor to your burger, you just up-level it all the way and it tastes better. Okay. I've got a little bit left and I'll take care of that later. But for right now, clean hands. See how much better that is? Now I'm going to take you through all of this. First of all, I want to show you a trick. And I've shared this with you before, but it's really important. This is a purple rag. I got this from Marla. And it's damp. And I'm going to take it and put it underneath, nice and even. I'm going to put it underneath my cutting board, and that keeps it from slipping. So as you're working, it's not going to be slipping across your countertop. That's important. Okay, so what we have here then is we have hamburgers cooking, right? And as the hamburgers cook, when they're done, I will take them and remove them to a plate that I'm going to need, that I didn't pick out. I'm going to take them and remove them to a plate. And then in the pan, I'll have some fat, I'll have some little browned up bits. That's called fond, by the way. And out of this, I am going to make a sauce. I'll show you exactly how I do it. It makes total sense, and you're gonna love the way this whole thing works. What we wanna do is we wanna get it nice and browned on both sides. When you're browning vegetables or beef or whatever you have, you're actually pulling the sugar that's in the food itself out to the outside. This is called caramelization, and it's what gives food its flavor. This is why when you saute things, you do it on a high heat with fat. Saute in French means to literally jump, and that's exactly what you want to be doing because that's going to be the flavor component. Got that? This is an important part. So right now we're going to take 2 big, huge cloves of garlic, and we're going to get those ready for the sauce. Because the hamburger is only the beginning. I'll show you. This is a good ab workout too. Abs of steel. Here we go. And by the way, I love it that you're sharing all these recipes and this cooking with your friends because that's helping them as well, and you're helping me. And people have been asking me, hey, Leanne, how can we help? And I'll tell you how you can help right now. You can become a Dinner Answer subscriber. If you go to savingdinner.com, you'll see Dinner Answers right there. And let me tell you something. This is our proprietary meal planning system that respects the way you eat, whether you're a vegan, you eat paleo, low carb, keto, just classic family. As long as you're eating food, we have a plan for you. Every single Tuesday, we put out a new plan. It's customized for you. And then if there's a recipe that you don't exactly care for, you can always shift it, edit it yourself, take it out, and it creates a brand new shopping list for you. Menus, recipes, and shopping lists. It's $7 a month. It's been $10 a month since the beginning of time, but because of what's going on, $7 a month. I've lowered the price. And we just want to get more people in and keep supporting Saving Dinner. And I appreciate all the people who've come on board lately. And that is a great way to support us. And plus, we get an opportunity to support you too. We're getting family meals on the table every day. So this is cooking. Now, the big temptation is to do this. Squish. But it's bad. You don't want to do that. Squish. Don't do that. You'll ruin your hamburger. You'll take all the juiciness out of it. And you want to give it an opportunity to cook, okay? Pancakes and hamburger patties deserve to be respected. You got me? Okay, in the meantime, so we've got our garlic ready to go. We have our onions ready to go, and there's like this whole situation here. Let me just put this over here. Whole situation here on how this whole thing works. I've got mushrooms already done, but I'm going to show you how to slice great big mushrooms, because you know how it is. You get your mushrooms, and you've got small mushrooms, you've got big mushrooms, and it seems all easy and simple until you come to this great big mushroom, and then you feel like you're, slicing a dinner plate. So I'm going to show you how to do it so that it makes it a little bit easier. First of all, always use your claw, your opposing hand, and the hand that you use. I'm a right-handed, so I'm going to use my hand on the... Hush! It's so loud. I'm using my right hand, obviously, with the big knife, and my finger comes right up to the blade. It's not underneath the blade, it's on the blade, though. It helps me to guide. And then you go through. Your opposing hand is using a claw. And then you can turn it on its side. That makes it a little bit easier to cut. And if I get too close, the only thing I'm going to do is give myself a little bit of a manicure. On its side. There you go. And we're going to pretend for a minute that these hamburgers have had enough time to cook. Okay, because I'm going to do the rest of this. I can finish these in another pan. Okay, and now, you see all of this goodness? This does not get thrown down the drain, not at all. What happens is we put some onions in it. And we let the onions do their thing. Oh, you should smell this, you guys. This is so good. Now, two things. You can do sliced onions if you want and have like the onion strings. You know how they do with liver and onions? Or you can do it just the way I'm doing it. And they're just going to cook up. Like I said, this is a keto recipe, what we call hot melt. I've got that turned down just a little tiny bit. I'm going to have a lot of fun cleaning the stove top tonight. And you're going to let those get to so that they're clear. They're translucent is the terminology. And that would be another couple of minutes. You just kind of give them a little stir and watch them. They're also browning at the same time, which is great. Again, that's back to that whole caramelization thing. There we go. And now let's drop it like it's hot. Okay. And we put the mushrooms in. Now, this is an important part on the mushrooms. Mushrooms you need to put a little salt over the top, and this coaxes the liquid out of the mushrooms. And mushrooms, their liquid won't come out if you have the heat too low, so you gotta turn it up. And when they release their liquid, they're basically poaching themselves in the liquid. But you have to keep going a little bit further, because what you're trying to do is, again, activate the caramelization process, and that's when the flavor really comes out and the mushrooms get nice and browned. And you'll see this in a minute. It's going to start getting a little liquidy in here, and then it'll all evaporate right off. Now what I also have too, whoops, extra trimmage. I'm going to wait on the garlic. I'm going to wait on the garlic. I've got a little bit of white wine here. I've got a little bone broth, and I have a little cream. And that's how I'm going to create the sauce. And this bowl that I just used for the mushrooms, once this is all done, these mushrooms are just beautiful and browned. And you can see they're starting to turn. They're releasing their liquid now. They're releasing the liquid. Release the hounds. See that? And you can hear how they're getting a lot more sizzly. It'll be another minute. But when this is all happening, I'm going to add some thyme too, because I love thyme, and with mushrooms, just makes it nice. I'm probably putting about 1/4 of a teaspoon in, and you remember, you rub your spices, you let them go in like that, so that they can do their thing. Look at that. They're getting gorgeous. And you want the white on the mushrooms to be a little less so. Here's something that's really interesting about mushrooms. All mushrooms in their raw state have toxins, all of them, including white button mushrooms. And if you, Dr. Wheel, I'm sure you've heard of him before, W-E-I-L. Anyway, he's a good doctor. He understands food. He understands a lot of things. And he's the one who told me about this whole mushroom situation. And he said, white mushrooms, any mushrooms, should never be eaten raw, because they can cause stomach upset. They have a cellulose type of a fiber in them that's extraordinarily hard for you to digest. However, when they're cooked, they're perfectly fine, and they're a sulfur vegetable, and they're really good for your own personal detoxification. So mushrooms are a superfood, but they've got to be cooked. Got that one? I know a lot of people are always like, wow, but I always use them on the salad bar. And I said, well, one, stay away from salad bars. Let's all agree right now, after all this virus business, I just think that we ought to give the buffet thing a rest. You know, when I saw a kid, we were at a buffet with Marla and Robert, and I saw a kid put his hand right in there and grab something out of the buffet thing, and that did me in. That was enough. And you know, there's ways of you know, you can be safe as you can be, but that doesn't mean everybody else is. Now I'm adding the garlic. Now the reason I add it now is I don't want it to brown. When you brown the garlic, you lose the flavor and it becomes bitter. Look at that. Do you see how gorgeous this is? Do I have some sisters saying amen out there? This is a pinkies up type of a cooked thing here. Oh my gosh, the flavor, the smell right now is just amazing. Of course, I forgot the black pepper. Let's do that. Black pepper, salt and pepper needs to always be in everything that you make practically. So, okay. And this week is Mark's birthday, by the way, the camera guy. And I am going to be making him his birthday cake on, it's this Thursday, isn't it? His birthday's Thursday, today is the 30th? I've lost track of time. His birthday is April 2nd, so whatever day that is, I am going to be making his birthday cake. I'm going to be baking it with almond flour and chocolate, and it's basically a flourless chocolate cake. So you know me, I'm not much of a baker and I don't do stuff like this on a regular basis, but it's his birthday. He needs a cake. Okay, so I'm gonna say those are done. And now we're gonna take them out. And I am going to commence with the sauce. Come on, everybody out of the pool. It's Adult Swim. I only got like 3 on the stovetop, not too bad. I'm not gonna let any of them go to waste. Okay, so now we're gonna go with the bone broth. Remember I told you I use bone broth for everything. Clean spoon, massively, look at that. That's, my friends, is the way bone broth should be. Every time you use it, use a clean spoon in there. Ooh. We're gonna get all of that goodness up off the bottom of the skillet. And I just did, I would say that's probably about 1/4 of a cup. And we're just gonna let that simmer Cocoa Puff for just about a minute. And then I'm gonna add some heavy cream. Now, you can also add coconut milk. This would be canned, heavy, full-fat coconut milk. You need the creaminess of it, the denseness of it, because this is how the whole thing operates. Can you get me a smaller white plate, Mark? Mm-hmm. Just the small size one, because I'm going to show at the end what this all looks like. Now, when you are doing a sauce, this is called a pan reduction. And when your pan, when you put some broth in there or some wine, like I'm adding the wine now, and I probably have probably 2 tablespoons of wine. This all adds dimension. And when we bring the sauce down and we reduce it by about half, it intensifies the flavor. You can smell that white wine, that's just really lovely. Just give it another minute. And you can let it go till it's just kind of a goopy mess on the bottom, but that's just a little bit too much. Yes?
How much broth? About 1/2 cup was that?
I did about, I'm gonna say I did about 1/4, about 1/3 of a cup, I would say. But again, you know, it's, if I put a full cup in here and had the patience to let it cook down, that's gonna be just as effective as 1/3 of a cup. It's back. Okay, so what I just did was, and you probably didn't see, I just added the cream. Now what I added in with the cream is I probably added about 1/4 of a cup of cream. Again, what we're trying to do is just bind this to make a sauce. And with a pan reduction, we're going to be using more mushrooms, and the mushrooms have made, you can see this right here on the bottom. Do you see that? Do you see where it's all brown and juicy? There it is. That is from the mushrooms. And that's going to go in here in just a minute. There's a certain thickness that I'm looking for, and you'll know it. It has, I'll show you. It coats the back of the spoon. That's not coated enough, so we're gonna wait another minute. And I'll just sit here and talk to you. How do you like that? So it's just another minute. And then I'm gonna show you what your product is gonna look like, the finished product. Now I would serve this with a nice big green salad. I would serve it with some asparagus. I think that's probably what we're gonna have tonight, some green asparagus. You could do baked potatoes, you could add rice, whatever you want. But this burger has been elevated out of the bun. It is out of the bun, and now it's gonna have this gorgeous sauce. Okay, so there we go. It's reduced enough. Well, just 2 seconds more. Here we go, here we go. It just keeps reducing, and this simmer, as you can see how it's simmering in the pan with all these little, and you can see the steam coming up? That's how you get the sauce there. Now, if you have it too much liquid in there, and you have it boiling too hard, you may break the sauce. But I'm going to show you how, look how it's sticking to the back of the spoon now. So much different, nice and thick. Now, back it goes. You add the mushrooms back in, and you give them a nice stir, and the sauce gets nice and brown because of all those mushrooms. Look at that, isn't that gorgeous? You guys hungry yet? Who's making this for dinner? I want to know. And that's basically how you do a pan sauce with burgers anyway. And I'm going to show you some other skillet recipes. We've got some, I've got some boneless, skinless chicken thighs that we're going to use, and I'm going to show you a new recipe with that. I've got a pasta recipe that I'm going to show you. Yes, I'm going to show you a pasta recipe. I got a whole bunch of stuff that I'm going to show you. But if you have questions, all you have to do is put your question here, and don't forget to support us. Go to savingdinner.com, become a Dinner Answer subscriber for $7 a month. And we will send you menu plans every single week. That's how we roll. We've been doing this for 20 years, and you have complete access to our entire database of recipes. How's that? That's pretty cool, right? Okay, look at this. Now, at this point, you grab the mushrooms, put it over the top. You're going to turn that off or you're going to lose your sauce, because there's a point of no return where it just starts. And you can see how nice and thick this is. I'm going to throw a little bit more on there. There. Now I want you to see how gorgeous that is. Doesn't that look delicious? This is wonderful. And you can put anything pretty much that you want to in that sauce. That sauce becomes really, it is the flavor component. You've got flavorful meat because we added all those spices in, and then you've reduced and made the pan sauce delicious. And it thickens everything up. The mushrooms themselves has a little bit of salt, a little pepper, and some thyme. We added some wine, we added some bone broth, and we added just a spot of cream to pull the whole thing together. But isn't that a great recipe? It's simple and easy, and it's even elegant. How do you like that? You could even do this with a steak. You could do this with pork. You could do this with anything. But the bottom line is, when you do a pan sauce, you elevate whatever it is that you're cooking, and you make it great. I hope you enjoyed that. Tomorrow we'll be doing it again, so tune in tomorrow at 4 o'clock, and don't forget, tomorrow is Tuesday's Tip at 1 p.m. If you want to join me for that, I will be here on Facebook Live. Thanks so much for joining me. I appreciate you guys. Peace out.